what have I done? Oh, God, what have I done?
Hey, I'm glad you could make it. It's only been like a month since I originally wanted to do this, but better
Yeah,
late than never, I guess.
good point. You sound so much different than what I remember.
Yeah, it's been a while. The year has not been very kind to me. I'll admit. It's definitely gotten the better of me.
Yeah, yeah, it's gotten the better of a lot of us.
It's been pretty rough, but I guess I gotta start the show now. Or maybe that was a cold opening, which it was. It was a cold opening this whole time. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the sixth episode of the What Have I Done podcast. And now I know this has been teased for the past six episodes, but we finally got him. We got him, ladies and gentlemen. May I present the world-renowned 150 followers on Twitch, the one, the only, VSCO Ruin. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give him a warm welcome.
This is terrible.
The crowd is just incredibly they're foaming at the mouth practically. They just they've been hounding for years and years waiting for you to show up, and finally the day has come. Everybody is rejoicing.
Okay. I love how many problems we've run into trying to set this up. It's great.
Yeah, I'm being super. Okay, so this is
Mhm.
you have never seen an episode of this show, and you don't know anything about this, so
Nope.
it's a real treat. You're going in completely blind.
Yeah, this is gonna be
Like,
terrible.
I think the only thing that you know about the show is that it exists and I do it every week, and that's kind of about it. And really that's all you need to know about the show. It's very lackluster. The episodes have ranged in length from 6 minutes to I think like 2 hours, so there's really uh there's really no time constraints on this.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, it really I think the thing is that once you get somebody else on a podcast, it becomes a lot easier, because the first episode was obviously the shortest because I didn't really know what I was doing, I was kind of just talking, and then once you hear silence, you're like, well, I got to fill the silence, and then you don't know what to say, so eventually you just end it. But once you have somebody else to talk to, they can bring in their point, you can bring in your point, they can say something about your point, you can say something about their point, and it's just a lot, it's a lot easier to continue something.
Yeah, because it's just a back and forth. Mhm.
Yeah. It's what they call a conversation. It's
Yeah.
something that I used to know, but I haven't been too keen on in the past year.
Yeah, no, I haven't really talked to too many people.
Yeah. It's been rough. I'll tell you that much. I've been I'm a very social person, and from the start of the pandemic, I was like, yeah, I can do this. This is only going to be like a month. I don't need to talk to people for like a month, and then it became a few months, and then it became more than a few months, and now it's over a year, and now I'm at the end of my wire here. I'm 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 hanging on. I'm hanging on, but by a thread.
Oh,
I
that
think that's something that a lot of people can relate to.
definitely, definitely. I used to be like that. No, it's just because I'm like a major introvert, so not talking to people is kind of what I'm used to.
I feel that's like very ironic, like somebody like you who's so introverted, you like I think you streamed for like what, like 5 or 6 hours today? Like
Yeah.
that's a very extroverted task. It's like taking that's like a good 1/4 of your day and just like putting it out there for anybody to watch.
Mhm. Well, it's just nobody knows what I look like. Nobody can see my face. I don't really care, so I just talk to people, and I do find that quite
So like
enjoyable.
Yeah, I haven't watched a stream all the way through because I've got other stuff to do, but I have listened to a good amount of them for a good amount of time, and from the sounds of it, you seem to have your own sort of community, and it seems like you're always having a good time. So, that's good on you. You're building something up, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I just want a nice community. The community I have right now is very small, and I'm trying to grow it, and a bit difficult because I'm still trying to figure out some things, and a lot of it is confusing.
Yeah, I hear you. That's like the thing. I feel like one of the hardest parts of like doing something on the internet is the very start because you don't really know what to do. You kind of just want to throw things out and see what sticks, but then you kind of, like it's the idea that like you want to diversify so you get a lot of people, but you don't want to be too diverse so that if somebody looks into what you do, they're like, well, I only came for this one thing, and they don't do things that are similar enough to that thing.
Yeah, yeah. Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah, but I was
that's
I was very surprised by your community. Like it seems like you reliably have like 5 or 6 people that will tune in and like engage in the chat with you. I thought that like that was pretty that's like exceptional, especially for something like Twitch, Like on YouTube, like if a video gets 7 views, that's like really no big deal. But if there's 7 people watching a Twitch stream, they're all there and participating. It makes it like it's a lot bigger of a deal.
that's what I enjoy about live streaming. Um, it's just like people will stop in, stop by, say hi, talk a bit, and maybe just go. And then other people will just kind of flow in and flow out, and it's just I find it really enjoyable. It's because
Yeah, it definitely seems like something that's up your alley. It seems because like just the way I think the way that you like at least like the way that I remember is that you really you just kind of like to talk about things, and I think that when you're given something to talk about, it makes it a lot easier to just go through and say, look at this thing, and I'm doing this thing.
yeah, when I have a topic that like I know a lot about, it makes it like so much easier for me to start talking because then I just go on and on and on about the subject. And it ends up going off into a rant, and it's just like I find it quite enjoyable.
I one thing I am pretty surprised. You've only played you know, may correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you've only played like 2 games like through your entirety of streaming.
Um, that's about it. Yeah, I've played. I do play like I played Minecraft, and I think
Friday
played.
Night Funk, and that's the other one
Yeah,
that
yeah,
that you.
Minecraft FNF. Those because yeah, those are the two that I play a lot because they're my favorite. I don't really play any other games since I don't find anything else enjoyable other than those two.
That's pretty crazy, like the thing about Minecraft for me is like I can only really get into it like in short bursts. Like I won't play for like 4 months, but then I will get in and I won't stop playing for like 3 weeks like at a time, and then I'll drop in like every other day or so. But then like after that, it kind of just fizzles out. I always really respected people, who like especially could like build a career off of playing Minecraft all the time. I think it just takes a lot more creativity than I'm willing to like sacrifice for a video game.
Yeah, I get that. A lot of people don't put in like a super like huge amount of effort. For something that they don't quite enjoy as much as other people. With like Minecraft, the thing I do the most is usually PvP based, and PvP is a lot of fun because anything can happen. Any game could go any which way, and it's just super like I don't know. It's just
Yeah,
different every time.
and from
Which
what
makes
I've
it
seen, you're pretty good at Bed Wars.
yeah.
I've seen a few of your streams, and you seem like you win a lot more often than I do. I'll say that much at least. The skill that I have is probably not a very high level to judge from, but it's definitely something that I'm impressed by.
Um, yeah, no, I'm not like insanely good at the game. I do play a lot though, and I end up getting a lot better, you know, from like
I
day
would
to
say
day.
you're at that level where you're good enough to stream the game.
Mhm. Like, I mean, when I first started streaming, and I was hot garbage. I was terrible. I didn't know what I was doing, and it took a lot of time, a lot of playing, and I eventually got used to it. It was fun.
Yeah, I guess it is like a skill that develops. If you just play the game for long enough, it just starts. You start getting better at it.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the thing with most games. You just have to play. You really have to like
Yeah.
be interested in the game and just keep playing and playing to really get good at it. Mhm.
So
So yeah.
oh, well, oh yeah so you've built up your career on Twitch, but Have you like considered branching out? I don't know. I was just thinking like how like a lot of the YouTubers have like they stream on Twitch, but then they upload like clips of the stream to
Like
YouTube.
VODs and
Have you
stuff.
ever considered doing something like that?
Yeah, I'm still figuring out a lot of stuff. I'll probably end up branching out to TikTok since that's where TikTok is like really easy to get likes and stuff, and it's
Yeah,
quite nice.
TikTok, that's like I still I guess I'm still like a TikTok purist, like I don't know why I just like I could never really get into it. It was just I had it for a few days and I really didn't I wasn't a fan of it. But I do always hear people talking about it. Some people are like, man, it's really good, and some people are like, man, I really hate it. So but I have heard that like at least like basically everybody who's ever been on TikTok has like has a viral video on.
Yeah, a lot of people will end up getting viral videos. It's with the thing with TikTok, it's so easy to get likes and views, and it's just like it makes
Yeah.
switching out your
And then you
channel and
just
like.
like do write like epic win or something, and then people are like, wow, good job,
Mhm. Yeah, with stuff like that, it's like um yeah, it's like I could definitely that's definitely what I was thinking about, just taking some clips of me either doing good or absolutely falling on my ass. So like it's very interesting, and I'm gonna start doing it soon once I figure out how to set up everything.
Yeah, I think that I feel like you've got some real momentum, Like I part of the reason I wanted to invite you here was because I am kind of, I am kind of jealous of your like it's like your drive, the ability to be able to like do something every day and get something out every day. That's like what I've been struggling with the most, because I've been trying to do something other than this show like every week, but I just like, I've been struggling and usually I just kind of like I usually just like shit something out like right at the end of a Friday, just because I don't know what to do.
Yeah. I get that. I get that. I just like I have a lot of dedication towards like the things I'm interested in, and it's just it gives me I have a lot of drive. Even if I don't get a lot out of it when I put something in, it's like it's reasonable because like no matter how much effort you put into something, you won't always get what you put in. Like you get bleh, you know what I'm saying. I think. I hope you do. You don't always get as much as you put in. Don't get as much. I don't completely stuttering
Yeah,
over my
I
words.
understand what you're trying to say. You're saying like, like you might put a lot of effort into something, but it might not get very far.
Hmm. And then I'm completely reasonable with that because I never expected my Twitch to go really anywhere. So I'm just
Yeah,
slowly.
that's definitely, I feel like that's the thing. Like I do have, I have a bit of confidence. I feel like I could go somewhere, but it's definitely you want to keep it like realism. You don't want to say like, oh, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna go on forever and just I'm gonna become like the next PewDiePie or something, because that's like unrealistic. That guy like worked day in and day out for the last 10 years, and other people who've done that like only have like a fraction of what he has.
Yeah. It's just I feel like it's just kind of luck. And
But I feel like the thing is that like like I don't know if this is right, but like from all of the things, I don't like go looking into this, but I have seen a few people that a few videos that I've watched where they said like, how'd you get big? And they just said, well, I don't know, I kind of just made videos. And I think that's the thing, like every video you have has like a certain percent chance to go viral, and then like the thing is that just the more videos you put out or like the more whatever you do, like just the higher that percent goes like cumulatively, if you have like one video and each video has a 1% chance of going viral, if you have like 50 videos, then you have like a 50% chance of going viral.
yeah, it's just kind of what appeals to the algorithm. Um if what you're posting is kind of relevant to what's popular at the time, like let's say Minecraft has like when Minecraft started to spike, a lot of people were playing it and it was really popular at the time. And it helped grow a lot of channels like Tommy Innit, Dream, and whatnot.
And not to mention a little guy called VSCO Ruin. I don't know if you've heard of
No,
him, but he's
no,
a up and
I've
coming
never heard of
streamer.
that guy. No, I've never heard of that guy.
Yeah, like it's exactly just like what happened to Ninja. Like he was just playing the popular game, just became like the like one of the biggest guys on Twitch, and then he left Twitch to become the biggest guy on that other platform.
XA. And then I think he went on to YouTube at one point, and he had like it was like 100,000 concurrent viewers at the time, and then I think he's back on Twitch. I have no idea.
Yeah, I think that's like really funny. Like, I thought Ninja was just like gone, and then like I saw him on Twitter or something talking about how he was gonna like how he was playing like Minecraft with like the Minecraft guys, and I thought it was so funny because I just like imagine like Ninja at this point, like a decrepit old man who had like never heard of a video game in his life, needing to be like walked through by with all of these the new famous guys.
I really found the content funny with Ninja because I enjoy Ninja's content. He's really funny. Um, it's like
I
it's
have
just
like like I think he's like I know this is not what he's for, but he for me he's like a really good source of like cringe comedy. Like, have you ever seen that video where he's like he wants to get like break the world record for like most people flossing, and like nobody flosses?
okay. Yeah, that was funny. That was funny. I really like that.
Yeah, I'm not seeing enough movement. Like, it's just like all of the clips that I've seen circulated of him. I've never tuned into one of his streams or watched any of his videos because his like, he just like he never piqued my interest. But the clips I have seen are just like all very like weird. Like, it doesn't like he just like the way he interacts with other people is really weird. Like, remember when he said he didn't want like a girl on his stream? Like I know it was because didn't want to he didn't want people to think about it though. Like, people didn't he didn't want people to think that he was cheating on his wife, but he was
Yeah,
still really silly. It was just like, no, I'm not gonna have any women on my streams.
yeah. No, I get where he's coming from. I relate to what he was thinking. I see his thought process. Yeah,
Like, it's like I feel like Dream and like those guys, they already have to worry about that. Like, just like the Dream and what's the British guy's name? I can't remember it. He's got the
the,
glasses.
the glasses at George Not Found.
Yeah, that guy, the guy that he was like originally doing it with, like a lot of people thought that like, me included, like back when he was like back when he still had like 1 million subscribers, and like I was like I am still subscribed, but like I was actually like watching all of his videos back then, and I was like, there's no way that these guys are not like hooking up. And like it's just because like it's just like the way that they interact with each other. And I guess like he was just being proactive and being like, well, I don't want this to happen to me, but I guess other people do. And it does serve as a nice circulation, because now when people have something to talk about, like not only do they have to discuss like this is his content, but it's like sort of a way like in like sort of an inside joke, but instead of a joke, it's more of a it's just something that people in the community can also discuss in addition to the content.
Yeah, yeah. I get that. I get that. It's just I never really thought they were gay, to be honest. I was like, oh, they're like just two bros hanging out,
Yeah, I
just
think it
fucking
was
around.
also because of the like just everybody else was saying it too, and I was just like, well, like if I were like, because I forgot, I kind of just went mob rule, and I forgot that sometimes people are wrong, and also like like are just saying things that they also think would be cool, and I was like, well, if other people are saying it, it's got to be true. He hasn't said like that it's not true, so. And it was just like it's just mob mentality, and yeah.
Yeah, I get them. I can't like trust what other people say. I have to like visually see it for myself. Because
Yeah, I guess it was just like sort of something that I wasn't like super passionate about. So I was like, I was like, okay, well if they're dating each other, I guess that's kind of cool. But like if not, like it's not the end of the world for me. Like I've seen some people who it looks like it would be the end of the world if they were not together.
yeah, yeah, yeah. there's some people who are definitely like that, and it's weird. I don't get it.
It's
Just
weird,
like,
but it's like it's very impressive that like this guy, like, and I don't want to harp on him too much, but like he's not very like charismatic, Like it like watching like all of I stopped watching his videos because they all just became very repetitive. Like people like they always quote him, but like it's kind of irritating like when they all just say like, "Oh, Dream, oh, George," it's just like that over and over again.
yeah, no.
Like
Um,
I'm sure that some of it like comes from the idea that like they want to like be repetitive, so that way it does like get ingrained into people's minds. Because now like when I do think of like Minecraft Manhunt, I think of oh Dream, oh George, he's so low. It's just like random phrases that they would constantly utter. And now, it's like ingrained in my mind. It's like it's kind of like product placement, but like in a not for a product that's being advertised.
mhm. I mean, unless the product is death. I mean, other than
The
that,
product is death and remembering who these people are. But like I get it. It makes sense. Like when I think of like when somebody says Minecraft Manhunt, the first three things I think of are like oh Dream, oh George, and then it's like oh yeah, that's the thing that Dream does. It's just like ingrained in your memory now, and it's like the guy with the dogs, Pavlov, who would like
yeah,
feed the
mhm,
dog every time there was a bell, so that way they associated the bell with the food.
yeah. Um,
It's just like he's been able to just it's like I don't want to say inside joke because I can't think of a better term than inside joke, but it is just stuff that he implants that people would be able to bring up later. Just like I guess references, just iconic things that people would be able to keep talking about, like even like when he's gone, like when he stops making videos, people are still going to be able to remember like all of these things.
um, yeah, no, I see what he was doing. It's like they repetitively say it, and it's just like it kind of sticks, and people just also say it, which makes it kind of stick more, and it's kind of
Yeah,
just
like the more
it's
I
funny.
look at Dream, like the more I feel like if this was unintentional, he must be like the luckiest guy in the world because like every single thing that he's ever done, like if you analyze it, it's basically just like the most like key to success way ever. He's tapping into a market that is like young teens, like particularly people that would be attracted to him or attracted to like he just like tapped into such an audience that like was just like, it would just able to ingrain these ideas into people's minds to like play himself as like a certain type of character and just to keep like proliferating himself and then surrounding himself by even more people so that way he's kind of just like constantly in the lexicon no matter what's going on like like when it's like not Dream, it's like when it's not Dream, it's Technoblade. When it's not Technoblade, it's George. When it's not George, it's the Half Enderman.
And
It's just like you're constantly reminded of who Dream is, like no matter what. He's solidified himself with the most popular game of all time. So now every time somebody's playing Minecraft, they're gonna remember, oh yeah, remember the green smiley face guy?
yeah, he's also like associated himself with like the entire Minecraft community.
Yeah,
Like
and then
everyone
Mr.
knows his
Beast on
name.
top of that. So
Yeah,
he's got himself all the way around the internet.
yeah, he's everywhere, and it's gonna be hard to like. It would be hard to like completely get rid of him.
Yeah, I feel like what, like I feel like no matter what happened to him now, like he could survive anything. Like he got caught cheating and he survived that. Like he got caught, like I say got caught, but there is still room for debate. But there is a video that of a guy that sounds very much like him saying that word that nobody likes, and he was able to get away with that too. So he's pretty good at, I feel like basically any scandal could get past him and he'd be fine.
No, he's a smart guy. He's a smart guy. He knows what he's
Yeah,
doing.
he's really smart. I feel like he must have like deliberated on like what he was going to do for like probably months. Because like every single step he takes is just like so carefully calculated. Because like I think that, another smart thing is the way that he played on people who didn't like him. The way, like, I kind of feel like the cheating scandal was like on purpose, so that way people would, because like it would get people stirred up against him and people stirred up for him, and now there's probably around like an equal contingent, and both of these people are constantly talking about how much they either love or hate the guy.
Yeah, you know, it's all it's so beautifully calculated and all formulated just correctly. I find it.
Yeah, like he really understood like exactly what to do and how to do it. Like if like he's probably, like he's just like the internet done right. He was able to just collect such a large group, and like you could tell like the videos that he started from, he was just playing the system, he was like making those videos that are just like, guys, look at these relatable Minecraft memes, everybody loves these, they're funny, right? Because they just like tap into something that like anybody who's played Minecraft for enough would understand all of these points. And then he got himself into something that saw its taste of success, and he just kept doing it, and it just kept getting popular.
Yeah, I find it really interesting how he just kind of worked with the algorithm and he just kind of, just solidified his name into like history. I find it.
Yeah, he really went rags to riches. Like I think it was probably like in the course of like what, like 3 or 4 months that he went from like 1 million subscribers to like 15 million subscribers. Or what is he at, like 20 million subscribers now?
Yeah, he's around 20 million.
Yeah, like that was like the same thing that happened to Mr. Beast. Like I remember like I'm like an OG Mr. Beast fan. Like I was around like like back before he even did like all of his crazy stuff. Like he used to just kind of like he was just kind of like one of those like regular commentary YouTubers who was just kind of like, but instead of like playing video games, he would just like talk. He'd be like, "Wow, guys, this thing is so stupid." And then he did like a crazy video. Like he counted to 100,000, and then like the video that
Yeah.
really like I feel like was like the one that like boosted his career was the spinning a fidget spinner video. He spun a fidget spinner for like 24 hours in a row, and I think it was that stream that like hit him into like 100,000, and then he like got into 1 million. I forget which video that was, but then ever since then he just boosted up to like 55 million, and he's like set for life, set for like multiple lives by the age of 22.
That's absolutely insane. Um,
But like that's something I respect him a lot more because he's actually doing stuff with his money. I would assume that like Dream, he probably has about like half or like, something around half of the amount of money that Mr. Beast does. He doesn't do anything. Not saying that he has to or anything, but it's definitely like, like people look a lot more respectably upon like Bill Gates than like Jeff Bezos, because like Bill Gates actually does something with all of his money.
mhm. I find it so interesting that how he could just give out so much money, like in just in like such short amount of time. Like he gave out like $1 million to someone.
Yeah, but like I think the thing is, like he used to swear a lot, but he doesn't swear anymore. And so
No.
like all of his videos are completely monetized. So he probably can put like 3 ads on each video, and they get like something like 40 million views each. And then not only that, but he has sponsors, and those sponsors probably pay like a pretty penny to get like a prime time ad on Mr. Beast's channel. Because
Mhm.
like that's an ad 40 million people are gonna see, so they probably pay a good amount too.
Yeah, and like they definitely, yeah, and they probably get like, you know, a lot of people would probably start playing like if it's like a mobile game. A lot of people start going like to Honey and like mobile games and stuff, and it's really crazy.
Yeah, and then you get a game like Raid Shadow Legends that like just becomes a meme because everybody's like,
Mhm.
"Hey guys, remember how like everybody is doing a sponsorship by these guys?" And like that's like the craziest thing, that like it just became like a meme because people were like, "Hey guys, look at this ad. Isn't this ad funny?" Like like that's one of the craziest things. Whenever I see an ad going around on the internet, like it's a form of entertainment, like I just have to think to myself, do these people like understand that they're just like profligating this company, whether they wanted that to happen or not, which they probably did, and they're just like, it's just free advertising at this point.
Mhm. I was gonna mention that it's like it's basically these like These people like this, like these people are sponsoring other people, and then their game gets like turned into a meme, which then in turn gives them like free advertisement. I find it really funny.
Yeah, like I remember like, something I did back in 6th grade, which was like, looking back on it was kind of cringe. Like, like remember when Sprite Cranberry was a big thing?
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, like every week when like that was like a popular meme, I would go to the store and buy like 3 cases of Sprite Cranberry and I would just like give them to people at school the next day. And
Didn't
that
you
was
give
just
me
like my
one?
thing for like a
Didn't
month.
did you give me? Didn't you give me one? I remember
I
getting one.
I don't think so because yeah, like it was a 6th grade thing. Although I
Oh
do
yeah,
still have 1 can left, so that it's sitting, I think, on my windowsill. It's my I guess it's still my crowning achievement.
it's just sitting there.
Mm-hmm. It's heavily guarded. It's behind a glass case. It's behind because it very may well be the last can of Sprite Cranberry ever made.
It could be, it very
If
much
I
just
can let you
could
in on a little secret, I didn't even really like the taste of Sprite Cranberry. It kind of tasted like a sour battery.
be. I it's just like a sour battery.
Yeah, like it tastes like like the way it tastes like makes me feel sad. Like it just like it tastes like I'm becoming sad. Like it just like has like it's weird. It's like a weird taste in it that just makes me feel like I don't know, maybe it just taps into memories, like into bad memories that I have. I'm just like, "Oh, this isn't very good." But once you get past like the first can, then it starts tasting good. Like if you have like 3 of them in a row, then you're like, "Yeah, this is starting to taste pretty good." But that first one, that one's a hard one to get down.
I don't know. I always enjoyed the taste of Sprite cranberry. It was like I never really thought it was bad.
Yeah, I definitely came around on it, but like that was the problem, like it was like the last week that I started like, the last week that they were still making it. I was like, "You know what? This actually does kind of taste pretty good." But all before that I was like, "No, this is kind of gross. I don't like it." But I was known as the kid who would hand out Sprite Cranberry, so at least I got that going for me.
Yeah, that title will take you so far in life.
I know. Like that's what's gonna make me CEO. That's what's gonna give me a bazillion subscribers on YouTube. That's what's gonna invite me to the Dream SMP.
You
That's how
know,
I'm gonna go places in life.
Sprite cranberry kid.
Yeah. But like like looking back on that, like God, do I feel stupid because it was just like it was just some clever marketing ploy that got me to spend like $50 just so I could like give people their product.
Yeah, that's
And
it's really funny.
it got me hook, line, and sinker. And like the more I think about it and the more I dwell on it, people who are like advertising on the internet are no longer advertising to adults. They are advertising to children and old people because they have the worst judgment.
You know, that's a very good point. That's also
Yeah,
why I don't like
and
children because they're
yeah,
stupid.
it's really sad because like back in the 80s, like people were also doing this, like yeah, that show Pokemon, like the entire reason that show exists was just to promote the video games and trading cards, and like before that they were even more devilish because like because He-Man, like that was actually like if there was this show called like How We Make Toys or something on Netflix, and they like I was watching the episode and the entire reason that He-Man exists was because they're like, well, how do we make a toy? The entire show was built around selling a toy, and like they would just build in their ads. Like they would build in ads to the show, and then like people like the government officials like they saw that and were like, well, that's not cool. You shouldn't be allowed to just directly advertise to children because they're stupid and they'll think that like that they need to buy this toy. So they said that like you can't put too many ads in a TV show. You have to clearly like mark when something's sponsored. But like they don't do that anymore. Sure, you have to say this video is sponsored by, but like if it's your own thing, you no longer need to say that you're sponsored by it. Like that's why
Hmm.
like what's so like devious, like when Jake Paul will just like, or at least when he used to, when he was popular, but like Jake Paul like would go around and would just like have like half of his video be a merch plug, and they couldn't do anything about it because it's not legally an ad or whatever, but he's still promoting something that he's making. And then the kids who can't distinguish an ad from entertainment will be like, well, now I gotta have that shirt.
Yeah. I is that He-Man thing really true? I used to watch that a lot as a kid. So kind of hearing
Yeah,
that.
yeah, He-Man. Like if I don't know, I bet there's a clip of it online, but like the creator, like there's just this like there's like this clip where the creator just says like, yes, this was built around a toy. We were looking for how we could make the most marketable character, and that was it. That's where He-Man came from.
That hurts, man. I really enjoyed He-Man. Like that hurts. Like that's like my
Hey,
whole
just because
childhood memory
it
game.
started from something like that doesn't mean it had to continue like. Like I'm sure that they
Mhm.
got writers that were actually passionate about. But
Um,
yes, it did start as just a way to sell toys.
that kind of hurts, man. I don't know why, but it just kind of hurts. Like just just
I wonder if anybody would like do another thing like that again. Like I mean, maybe it's just me, but I took a way out.
Mhm. uh I don't know. It's really weird.
Well, like toys are kind of just like they're like cable television. They were what used to entertain the masses when kids couldn't watch TV, they would either go outside or play with their toys. But now people have phones, and phones just kind of like they kind of just like they make up for that. You can't watch TV because what like the can't watch TV because you want to go somewhere else that's not where the room with the TV is in, but the phone is portable. And like when you want to be entertained, you have apps for that, and you have people who are like dedicated their life to just trying to entertain you. And instead of like a weekly show, you can like find entertainment like as much as you want whenever you want.
Yeah, and it's like the nice thing about phones that you could literally it's just this portable TV that has so much on it. But that's also like the downfall to phones
Yeah,
that
that's like the biggest detriment.
Mhm.
It's like as much as I hate those pictures that's like, guys, this is totally society, and it's a picture of like a bunch of people looking at their phones. It's like completely true. Like I could spend an entire day not doing anything, looking at my phone. And like I think the problem with that is it's just warped my reality so much to the point where like if I can plug in like an actual video game console and sit down for an hour and play an actual video game, I feel like accomplishment. Like I feel like, wow, I was able to like put down my phone, pick up a controller, and do something different than like stare at like the YouTube homepage for the last hour.
Mhm. Yeah, that's that's just the thing about like that's just the thing about like phones and stuff. Like they're so great, but they're also a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I think the thing is that like I'm still like suffering like a harsh transition from like to a consumer from consumer to producer, because like I used to just like look at things on the internet, but now I like want to create things on the internet. And I feel like it's a lot harder to create things on the internet. I feel like, as everybody knows, because it takes you just like 5 minutes to watch a video, but it probably took like 4 hours at least to make that video.
Mhm. With all the editing.
Yeah, yeah.
All the editing.
This was just supposed to be like a low caliber sort of thing that I could that I could get like reliably out every week. It's like it's something that does require a little bit of skill, that you have to talk for a good amount of time, but not like too much that like it's not going to come out like on the day that it's done recording. So that way
Mhm.
I can get it out. And it's just like it's something that it's a show about, when it's not horribly derailed as most shows are, but when it's not like completely off the tracks, it's about motivation and getting things done and like goals that you want to achieve, because like that's something that I've been trying to work towards a lot, is figuring out like my corner of the internet and where I can like start working with. know, I envy you in yet another sense that you have already found your spot where you're working. You know, you're doing like video games. Like I'm still not sure of where I want to do. Like I don't know, like you know, because if I want to do a variety of things, you know, which I'm kind of doing right now, it doesn't really, you know, there's nothing really that somebody could say. Well, I like this, so I'm gonna subscribe because like all of my videos as of right now are like really weird and different. So people would be like, well, I like this one video, but not all these other videos. So I don't think I'm gonna subscribe, you know. Most of the people who are subscribed to me right now, like I know personally, and they probably just subscribed out of guilt.
Um, I mean, a good example to a large variety of content is someone like Charlie Slimesicle.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, I know him.
yeah, he,
But
he
like
is.
yeah, like he's like I think a lot more people, like myself included, they come to his videos mostly because of his like charisma, you know?
Mhm.
Like they come to the videos for him, not for the game he's playing.
Yeah, and you know, still some people like me. I enjoy watching the game as like he's talking and doing whatever.
Yeah, that's something that I think would have, you know, in order to be able to do something like that, you need to you need to build yourself up. Like right now, like just from a passing glance, I don't feel like people could really like get a feel for me and like understand what I'm about and then say, "Well, I like this person's style, so I'm going to subscribe in hopes that I see something with this style instead of with this like theme or whatever."
Hmm. I get that, and there are like two types of people. Uh, people who just
Yeah.
kind of like.
Like people who like subscribe for the character and people who subscribe for what you're talking about.
Mhm. And it's just like, you know, you'll find your place. It'll take some time, but you'll find your place.
Yeah, you know, I think the biggest thing that I need to do is I need to talk about somebody else's thing. You know, like so far, and this is, you know, honestly, I feel like this is probably like one of the biggest miracles. But so far, like I think every single video on my channel as of right now, which isn't a lot, I would say it's probably only like 10 or something, but none of the videos are based on anything. They're like, sure, like they may have like grounds in something, but they're like all my creations and they're not like me talking about somebody else's work. And I feel like that's where it really is at because like once you like, you know, because like nobody really understands like what my videos are about. Like Garfield's Bizarre Adventure means nothing to anybody. Like even once you watch it, like you don't really know what it's about. But like, you know, if I talk like talking about something like my favorite video games, like people are like, "Oh yeah, I know video games. I know things that are good. Like let me watch this to see what somebody else thinks are good."
Mhm. Um, yeah, some people are like people pleasers, and other people just kind of do what they like, you know. And there's
Yeah, you
just.
know, like I've seen a lot of people like cuz like, you know, I don't really like I haven't gone all in and like looking for like tips on how to do stuff, you know. I've kind of just like looked around and when I see something I pick it up. And a lot of people are, you know, they say like, "Oh, like just, you know, do whatever you want. Like, you know, this is supposed to be your thing." But like, you know, I think a thing that like, you know, is different in my scenario is like half of my the fun part that is here is just like building the community. You know, I feel like what you're like a lot of people are like, well, I'm just here to put my stuff out there and like I hope somebody like other people are going to find it. But like, you know, my goal like when starting this channel was not only to be able to like get my creative sense and my drive back on track, but also to like form some sort of like community around my, you know, no matter how small, like as long as they're like people who would regularly tune in and like interact with stuff that I have to say.
Mhm. um you know, I always wanted like a nice community of people, the community of people just to like talk to, and for people to interact, and for people to interact with me and for me to interact with them. And like it's just fun. You know, I just see it as kind of fun.
Yeah, yeah, like that, like that's the thing. Like you know, there are two aspects to it. You know, like the making stuff, which is fun, and the you know, the like the getting feedback on it, which is also fun. You know, because it's like it shows that people are seeing what you're doing and they're enjoying it. But like, like I think like probably the biggest problem for me is like, like this show is both a blessing and a curse in the way that it keeps me motivated, and it is something that I will do and am able to do every single week. But it also like creates like a constant sense of dread. Like whenever I'm doing something, I feel like, well, I should probably be working on something so I have something to talk about for the show. And then when I am working on something, I'm like, well, I don't know what to work on. And then like it's just kind of like that endless loop until I eventually do figure out what I'm doing. It's just kind of like there is like a sense of urgency, which is a good thing, like because it like if there was no sense of urgency, which like a lot of my old projects, I usually just give up on them, or I'm like, well, I'm just taking a little break. I'll figure it out later. And then once, like, I take that little break becomes a week, 2 weeks, a month, and then it's like a year. I haven't.
Hmm. Some things are just hard to get into, and like,
Yeah, and like that's what I think is like the best part about this like show in particular, because like no matter what, I have to get one episode out every single week in order, to like, just to like keep it consistent. That is like the one thing that I've promised myself, that I will devote every like 11:30 on Saturday in order to getting this show out, so that way I do at least have some sort of semblance. And every day I at least like, try to like fumble around, maybe like make a song, or like try to write something down that like seems like a good video idea, or like try to flesh something so that way I do have something.
um, that's some real dedication, and that's hard for a lot of people to really get into and just to do in general. And that's pretty crazy. Even for me, like I used to stream like every day for like maybe like 3 to 6 hours every day. Some days weren't the best, and I stopped streaming early. I had like an off day, like I took off, and then I got back on, and then I went off, and I was off for like a week. Then I got back on, and I want to see if I can try to work myself back into the flow of things. Because there's
Yeah,
just
I think once you can get a schedule, like that's when it's like really all over, like that's once you got into the groove, you know exactly what you're going to be producing.
Mhm. Yeah, and for me, I particularly don't want a schedule. I want to be able to stream whenever I want to for however long I want to.
Yeah, like that's something that, like if especially for something like as big as streaming, because like streaming is something that like you have to be like basically on your A game for like a good amount of time for like a good chunk of your day, like when you make a video, like you could like if I really like, like I think the I've probably, I think I made 2 videos this week, and both of them have probably been like over the course of like 2 hours, maybe within like 3 days. So it's like, it's definitely like a lot more lenient for like something to make. Like for you, like in those same amount of days, you could have streamed for like 4 to 6 hours, while I only had to work for 2 and still was able to get something out.
Hmm. Um, yeah, with streaming, I feel like just streaming, it's a lot easier than having to record and edit and everything. And I
Yeah,
can do.
yeah, I think that's like one of the things that is like definitely a benefit of streaming. I don't want to like, say this like in a mean way, but like kind of just like the easiness of it, like not like that, just the idea that like, you don't need to come up with anything new. You just kind of have to play the game and then react to it accordingly. For something like, what I'm doing, like if you could even call it doing something, but it's like I kind of have to, like, instead of getting a scenario given to me and then like doing something with it, I have to find the scenario in the first place. And usually in most cases, I have to create the scenario in the first place.
Mhm.
Like that's something I'm still looking for, like the easy content. Like a lot of like pretty much everybody who makes like videos has some form of easy content where they either like talk about like a video game that they like, or like, like they have a series where they like talk about like a TV show episode by episode. Something that like they know like exactly what they have to do. Like they say, well, I just watched this episode, this is what I thought about it, and then we edit it together a little. People are like ready to see this video.
Yeah. And with having to, it's yeah, it is a lot easier to stream. and like obviously I take no offense to that because it just
Well,
is kind
of course, it's only in some
in
cases,
some
in other
yeah.
cases, it is a lot harder to be streaming for doing it.
And
But yeah, continue.
it depends on what you're streaming and how you stream. For me, I just kind of hop on Minecraft, start up a stream, and I just wait for some people to join in at first, and then I start it, and I just go with whatever happens. And
Yeah,
like,
like I really like the I guess the atmosphere of your streams. Like it's interesting how they're able to create like a sense of like, it just seems like it seems like a very calm thing, but it also seems like a very rowdy thing at the same time. Like it seems like, like something where like it's like if you were at a party and like you could equally expect the songs to be like ballroom music and like slow dances to like just like punk and like hardcore rock. It just like it always fluctuates between like whatever's going on, and I think that that's really cool. You can go from like 0 to 100 in like a matter of minutes.
I that's what I also enjoy about streaming is that anything can happen. It could all be like it could be nice, calm, and quiet, and all of a sudden and then it just goes to me screaming my head off. That's what I really enjoy about streaming is that it's just anything can happen. It's just a complete mix of variables, and it's just so much fun to just goof around. And it's just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
really.
Earlier today, I had one of your streams on like in the background, as
Mhm.
background noise. I don't remember what I was doing. I think I was playing a game or something. And like I think you were like AFK or something. And I had almost completely forgotten that I forgot that it was even on. And then like you started playing and it like freaked me out because I forgot that I was even listening to something. And like then
Mhm.
like like it is always nice to have something in the background, and I think streams are pretty nice because like it is someone like talking and reacting to something, so you can like usually understand what's going on without having to watch the entire thing.
Mhm. It's really fun to just stream, and like the thing is I can just kind of do whatever I want, where whether it just be leaving stream for like half an hour, coming back and scaring everybody, my whole chat just being quiet and me screaming. Anything can happen. And that's what I like love about it is that I have so much freedom and I can just kind of do whatever I want without having to be like super focused in what I'm doing and just being able to work how I want to work and just kind of do whatever. It's all fun.
Yeah, kind of like in a way, like a podcast like such as this is kind of like a stream, except it's it's like there's like a set time and it's like and it's edited. It's usually not edited that much. Like I like to keep like most of the entirety of it in, but I usually go in and clean up the audio. But it is
Mhm.
like this show, like especially like solo casts are kind of just like streams, but without the game. Like
Mhm.
I just find stuff to talk about without having something that I'm doing while talking.
Yeah. Um. Honestly, podcasts I always found an interest in. I never really listened to them, but whenever I did, I always like got kind of lost in podcasts and just kind of listened and followed through. And it was always
Yeah,
a
that's
lot
like
of
the
fun.
opposite of me. Like whenever I'm like not doing something with somebody else, I am just listening to podcasts. Like that's basically all I do. Like I'll listen to podcasts while I'm trying to work on videos. I'll listen to podcasts while I'm playing video games. I used to listen to podcasts before I fell asleep, but like I would miss out, so I switched to ASMR. But I was basically like hooked in like listening to a podcast like all the time, and I still pretty much am.
Mhm. Um, no, I never really got into podcasts, but I do every now and again. I would.
Well, I just like I like the way that podcasts can like be like you could take like a 10-minute heavily edited video and you could probably get the same amount of entertainment from like 10 minutes of a podcast. Like they have like different amount of production value, but they just both have like a different style. Like listening to a guy talk for 10 minutes is way different than listening to like three or four guys talk for 10 minutes because they have like a dynamic to them and they sound interesting and they're having fun with each other like which you
Mhm.
usually don't get from like a YouTube video.
And the thing I like about podcasts is that you could have like 4 or 5 people, and you're all like screaming and laughing at each other, and I just it's just a lot of fun, and because of how like chaotic it is, and that's what I
Yeah,
was.
that, like no matter what, it seems like a like podcasts will always get chaotic, and I think that means it's a good thing because like when a podcast is not chaotic, that usually means it's like boring or uninteresting, and like not even the hosts really care about what's going on. Which like when something's like when people are like yelling and talking over each other, it shows that people are actually have passion in what they're trying to say.
Mhm. The thing that always gets me hooked on some podcasts is that when they're like 4 people and they're all talking, and it just goes to like everything just goes to complete and utter shit. Like people start like screaming at each other, they're all laughing, like someone like flips a table or something, and it's something that like I love, and it's just really enjoyable. Some podcasts.
Yeah, and I think one of the best things about podcasts, on the other side of it, like creating them, is that they're like, they're really like I wouldn't say easy, but they are definitely they aren't the hardest thing in the world to make, Like as long as you got like a good sense of charisma, which I feel like I'm always working on, like just the ability to talk and like be able to bounce off of somebody and just be able to continue and keep talking about whatever you have to talk about. It's a skill that I think everybody should have, and having a podcast is something that really makes it easy. And like I would just I'm really loving this like this thing I got myself into, because like for the first like 4 episodes, like I was kind of like I felt like it was kind of bleak because it was just me talking to myself. I could do it, but I was like, this isn't gonna go anywhere. But then like I posted on one of my social medias, I can't remember which one, and I just asked people like who were following me, I just said, do you want to be on my show? I do not care if I know you or not, just please show up. And that's how I got Squilliam Fancyson on for the last episode, because like we had like followed each other for a little bit, but like we didn't really know each other, and he was just like, yeah, why not? I'll be on your show. And then like ever since then, I just like like started asking everybody I knew, and now I do have like a solid lineup of guests.
Mm. That's really cool. Honestly, just having because what you just want to do is just kind of slowly just build up everything.
Yeah,
And
like like that's like I feel like I'm finally getting somewhere with this podcast, because like I'm getting like a lot of people, but I'm also getting like multifaceted, like I'm getting like people like from all like walks of the internet.
hmm just being able to get like anyone from anywhere and just kind of talking to them, and just it's just like a whole new conversation every single time, and it's really fun.
Yeah, like yeah, last episode Squilliam, he's a musician, and so like we talked about his music and stuff. You're a streamer. Next week I have on I don't know like what she's going to want me to call her, but I got Aria on. She's going to be on next episode.
Arya. I haven't talked to her in a long time.
Yeah, I haven't talked to her in a long time either. Like I just said, "Hey, do you want to be on my show?" And she said, "I'm busy." And then like just like, that was like 4 months ago. And then like last week I said, "I still have a show. Do you want to be on it?" And she said, "You know what? Sure. I'll be on next week." And I was like, "All right, sweet." And so yeah, she's going to be on, and she does cosplay, so that's going to be cool to talk about.
Yeah, you know what? Tell me how that goes, dude. Like I really want to hear about that.
Hey, you know what? Like if you want, like you can be there too, I'm hoping that like eventually, I don't know like how soon I want to do it or how many people are going to want to show up for like more than one episode, but like, I'm hoping that eventually I could get like one or more people like into each episode, starting having a rotating cast.
Oh, that sounds like fun. That's something I
It,
definitely would enjoy watching. Just having a bunch of different people on.
yeah, like, like cuz like and then for whatever reason, like I don't even know if he does anything, but Kyle, he said he would be on, I don't like he doesn't have a set date yet, but I think we could probably schedule it for the week after Aria's, so I can, I think I have like another two guests lined up, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I've recently talked to like Kyle or Carson. I don't know what he was like,
Um,
but like yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
yeah, I haven't talked to him in like a year, and like, I just messaged him like like the other day and just said, "Do you want to be on my podcast?" And that was like the funniest thing. Like the message history just like left off like over a year ago, and I said, "Do you want to be on my podcast?" And like 5 minutes later, he said, "Sure." And I was like, "Okay, this is how it works. This is
Yeah.
what we call getting into business."
No, I feel like that'd be fun. I'd like to show up to like one or both of those. That sounds like a lot of fun. No,
Yeah.
to be honest with you, it just seems like a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the thing. Like I feel like the dynamic has been like different for like I don't have too much experience, but the dynamics between you and Squilliam have been like pretty different, and I feel like the dynamic between me and Arya is going to be different, and I bet the dynamic between me and Kyle is going to be different, and I'm sure like once I get like if I start getting combinations of like you guys like on, it's going to be even more different. It's just like it's what we call variety.
Mhm. And now that's something that is like I definitely would enjoy watching the English, yeah. Something that I would definitely come back to watch. Like just having a bunch of these like lovable characters just cycling in and out talking about
Oh,
different
the
things.
lovable characters. They haven't even pre-debut and we already love them.
You know what I mean.
Yeah, I do. You know,
It's just it's
because like
great.
I feel like charisma is such a broad term, and people can have charisma in all sorts of ways. And I feel like the charisma like between like you and Arya is like way different. Like I feel like like it's weird. Like you guys both have confidence, but I feel like your confidence is like in a different way.
Oh yeah, no, my confidence is like a whole mix of a bunch of things. Like
Yeah, like I feel like simultaneously you are one of like the most confident and least confident people I know.
mhm. I'm a very like okay, with how my brain works, it's like it's kind of like decisive between two things. Like I can be really confident over the internet because you don't really know me like super well anymore. So then I'm just kind of more confident to kind of like, you know, be me, I guess. But in real life, having to see like going to school, specifically having to see that person over and over is kind of like yeah, I like I don't want to interact with people as much that I know. Or that doesn't make any sense. My brain is it's
Yeah,
twelve
I
fifty,
understand what you're
and
trying to
I'm
say,
like half
and
awake.
like I totally agree with that. Like I feel like if it had not been for that like very same thought, like I probably would not have gotten so many guests. Because like it is like kind of like it is like 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 when I like before the podcast, I don't know if you felt this, but like whenever I'm about to do I'm about to do a recording, I always get super nervous, and I'm like, well, maybe I should just stop. Like maybe I should just shouldn't do this. Maybe I should
Mhm.
just like say forget it and then pretend like I never did it in the first place. But like before messaging everybody, I was just like, you know what? If I don't do this, I probably won't be their friends like ever again. Because like like we haven't talked in so long that I feel like like before this podcast like we probably could have just like amicably like never talked to each other again and it would have been fine. So it's like it's if when you're at that moment and you haven't talked to somebody in so long, you could either be like, well, I could never talk to them again, or I could rekindle our friendship. And if they say no, I guess we just don't have to talk to each other ever again.
Mhm. And
Like, and
with
I'm at that moment with so many people because I've just like, like I've just like my social contact with a lot of people it's just been like very poor, like especially since not seeing everybody. So I feel like I'm like at the point with like a lot of people where like I could either be like, well, I could just like, never talk to you again, or we could, you could come on every week and we could become best of friends. It's like,
mhm.
like that's just such a weird like spot to be like in the definite middle of a friendship where you could either like just stop or continue like nothing happened. And I like that. It's just a really fun point to be at where it's kind of like you got nothing to lose and everything to gain.
it's it's just a kind of like 50-50 coin flip.
Yeah, it's like a 50-50 coin flip. Like if I lose, things are going to be exactly the same as they were. If I win, things are going to be better. So, it's like there's really no risk involved. It's just just the like I got a very primitive monkey brain. I'm assuming a lot of people have this too. But it's like you can make a rational thought and then your brain is still like, "No, me scared." Like I'll turn off the lights and I'll be like, well, there was nothing in my room when when the lights were on. There's still nothing in there when my lights are off. And then I think about it for a little while, and then I put my foot under my blanket because I'm like, well, what if there is something that I just can't see? You know, and
Mhm.
it's just like that, like the anxiety, like that, like I know, like if they say no, like nothing bad's gonna happen. If I say, hey, do you want to be on my show? And they say no, like there's nothing bad that's gonna come out of that. You know, I'll be like, okay. But like if they say yes, then I stand everything to gain. It's just like my brain goes back to like scared mode and is like, wait, no, no, no. Like what if they say no and I just like, you know, it's cringe. Like I know that nothing bad's gonna happen, but I still like think that bad things could happen.
Yeah, the brain is weird in a sense. It's just like, you can make irrational. That's why I always thought that like you as in like your own personality were different from, your own brain, which is odd and kind of stupid and, you know, not exactly, logical. But, it's just how my brain works, I guess. It's all just a mix of things I don't understand.
I feel like that makes a lot of sense, you know, that like everybody has the same brain, just like conflicting against their own personality. So there
Mhm.
would be people that would say the lights are off, now I'm scared, and there would be people who say the lights are off, but I know nothing was there when the lights were on. And like the primitive like monkey brain that we still have is like, but wait a second, what if something is there now? And some people will say, that's true, I'm scared, and some people will say that's not true. That doesn't make any sense. I'm not scared.
Mhm. You know, the thought process of people and humans is very, very interesting.
Yeah, like it's weird how many times a day, like at least I would assume, you know, there are a lot of people like this, but it's like sometimes it's like astounding how many times I end up doing things that I just completely don't want to do, and then I like look back on my day and I'm like, well, why did I do any of this? Like this was terrible.
Mhm. It's it's very interesting what happens, and like, I don't know, life
Like the
life
amount of
itself.
times like I just like blow off like working to just like play video games, it's just like, you know, like looking back and then like whenever I'm about to go to sleep, I think about like what I've done over the day, hence what have I done, the podcast, fitting name. But like I like to reflect on what I've done and it usually like boils down to like woke up, check my phone, like forgot to eat breakfast, played video games, had like a whole bunch of popcorn, then played more video games, then like did some yard work and then played more video games and then attempted to work, then stopped it and played a computer game and then played more video games and then attempted to work again and then got tired and fell asleep.
My day is way, way more bland than that. Literally this morning it was like woke up at 9, went to the bathroom, went downstairs, made some cereal, came back up, ate, streamed for like 8 hours, and just never leave my room.
Yeah.
That was
You
it.
know what, you're lucky. You know, I've never had like the luxury of the room as it's called. Like back when my mom was still like living in this house, like she used to like I used to like on the couch and then when I was like, you know what, maybe I want to sit like in my room and then like when I would sit in my room, like my mom would be like, "Well, why are you sitting in your room?" Like she would either think like that something was wrong with me or that I had something to hide, but now she's gone. And so now when I spend time in my room, now like my dad, you know, because like all he does is works all day, so he's like got to deal with like crushing like loneliness or whatever. What a loser, am I right? But he's always like, "You want to go do something? Let's go work on the yard. Just you and me. We got to go do something." And I'm like, "God damn it, I just want to play video games all day and feel like a piece of shit at the end of the day and not just like a piece of shit who also did work, you know?"
Good point. That's fair. I feel like because my mom isn't like she's very lenient and she doesn't like tell me what to do as much as she should. Like I tell her if you need help with something, tell me and I'll come down and help you as fast as I can.
Oh, is your
But then
parents one of the ones that's like instead of like come do this, they get mad when it's not done?
um In a sense, yeah. She doesn't get super mad at me if I don't do it, and if I just forget. And another odd thing is I just have like a memory issue now where I just don't remember. Like I just like it just completely space out and just forget everything. That's basically what just happens. It's weird. Like I'll be like, okay, gotta do this at this time, and then I'll just space out for 10 seconds, and I was just like, wait, what was I thinking about?
It's probably all that time on your phone, you know. I heard on the news that's what the phones do nowadays.
Oh
They s-
yeah.
they steal your memory and give it to the elite, the global elite, so they can remember more stuff about
Yeah, definitely.
you. Facebook.
It sounds like Facebook to me.
Like you're if you're always spacing out, I'm just imagining that like at least once per day you get like a giant notification in your eyes that just say like low memory, please clear up space.
Okay, listen, you don't need to call me out like that, man. Come on, come on, come
I'm sorry, did
on.
I just expose you?
You didn't have to do me like that, man. It's-
It's just like Justin.exe
I
has
stopped
stopped
working.
responding.
That's the whole definition of my life. It's great.
Yeah, you know what? I think the worst part is that like I have stuff like that, but I'm fully conscious for it. So it's like I'll have moments where I do nothing, but I the entire time I'm thinking like I should be doing something. I should be doing something. And I think like that's the worst part, you know, like especially like of what, you know, virtual school has done to me is just that I never have a free moment anymore. Like all of the time is just like, you know, when I'm not doing when I'm doing something physical, I'm like you know, I'm spacing out mentally. But when I'm doing something mentally, I'm spacing out physically, and I'm just like, you know, like when I got to do work, I'm like, man, I should be doing something else. And then when I'm not doing work, I'm like, well, I should be doing, you know, like I go to school on like I go to school in my house, so I can't differentiate school from house anymore. So I'll go to school, I'll be like, man, I wish I wasn't doing school, and then like, you know, I wish I wasn't working right now. And then when I'm done school, I feel like, man, I should be working right now, you know? It's like they give you something like a teacher will give you an assignment that they say well should probably only take 10 minutes. And so you're like, okay, well, it's 10 minutes. I don't have to do it. But now the entire day you're thinking about that 10 minutes, an assignment that you're supposed to do that you just keep putting off. And you're just like, well, I won't want to do it. And it's like, you have perfectly good time, like some other time to do it. But now, like, when it's not that other time, you just feel like you have to do it because, you know, it's like, well, you have the opportunity to do it. You should be doing it.
Hmm. That's another issue with like virtual school that I just kind of end up putting things off, and I could never just get into the flow of things, and just never like I can just never like I just never want to work when I'm in school, like when I'm like at home and
Wait,
I'm
you
doing
don't
stuff
want to
virtually.
work? Oh my God, I think we have a first, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow. Okay. I see how it
I
is.
think everybody doesn't want to work. I think like that's part of the human condition is the intense desire to work, but also the intense desire to not work.
Like, I just want to work, but like when I work, I have this like physical aching just not to work. Like I just can't. Like there's just physical and mental like blockage that just don't won't let me work, and it's weird. I
I
don't
think
like
like
it.
that's probably the worst part of the human condition. Whenever you're like doing something, you're thinking like of the million other things you could be doing right then. And then when
Mhm.
you're like not doing anything, you're like, well, I want to like play video games and not do all of the million things I wanted to do when I was doing something else. Like all the while when I'm at school, I'm like I could be making a video right now. I could be working on music right now. I could be doing something. And then as soon as school is done, I'm like, whew, oh, that was a hard day at school. I better watch some TV and then eat a bunch of food and then go upstairs and then play video game. Oh wait, no, I was supposed no, wait, no, I'm just gonna play video game. Like, cause like basically like after school, like my entire day is like filled with like, whoa, I had a hard day today. I deserve a day off. And then it's just like that I just never get anything done until it's like, oh God, tomorrow's Saturday. I have a podcast where I talk about things I did this week and I didn't do anything this week, so now I gotta make something real quick. And I feel like that's where most of the things I've created have come out of like the panic of I have to make something like right now.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's just I don't know. It's weird. I feel like I've been conditioned to just forget about everything else and just play games and just not worry about it. Like, that's just what I want, to not worry about anything ever. It's just to kind of like
Yeah, I think like that's something like the way you've mixed your work with like your pleasure, something that you like doing with something that like you want to continue doing is like a nice mix. And that's just like something that I haven't, figured out yet because like doing stuff like like making content, like especially from where I'm at right now, is like, while like I know the results are going to be good, and while it is like, cumulatively fun, like while I'm doing it, it's pretty stressful, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I guess to put in
Mhm.
context, like something that I've been doing, a lot, like I think that if I check that my most recent videos have like all been like music related. My last two videos, for example, are both just songs. And for both of them, like I was really struggling. Like I was just like, I had the music studio open and I was like, all right, now what do I make? I've got to make something. And it's just like I would make stuff, I would take stuff and I just felt like, no, this is not good. Like this just can never be good. And so, eventually, like, I just had to settle for something, that, like, I was like, well, this sounds terrible. And I was like, well, no, it really doesn't. I just, like, listened to it and I had a little bit more confidence. And I was like, you know what, this really isn't that bad. And then I just kind of, I just kind of continued, with that, like, it's just sort of, oh my God, I'm spacing out too. You gave it to me. You gave me the disease. But it's just that once I get something done, I like it a lot more. I think it's better once it's done. And I like once it's a finished product, I think one of the things that always gets me is when I'm looking at an unfinished product and I just feel like, oh, this is terrible. Like this is, like it's just like it's unfinished, it's choppy. But then eventually once I can get it down to something that's actually good, I can start, being proud of the work that I've made. Like that's one of the great things about this show is that it's a lot easier to be able to just say, this is my thing, and this is like the charisma that I'm bringing, and like everybody's having a good old time. But then when something like that I have to make, and I have no indicator on how good it is except for my own eyes seeing, well, I like that or I don't, then it's a lot harder to try to like put myself in it like a space of where I think like this is good or this is bad.
hmm you know, um, I don't know. You yourself are your own harshest critic. Especially for me, I'm extremely like difficult on myself. If I don't think something was good enough or even close to as good enough, I will be really hard on myself and try to do better. And then I just get all
Yeah,
sad and shit.
one of the things that I forget who told me this, but like this is like one of the things that is like, stuck like longest time is that like, like those little imperfections that you see, nobody's gonna watch the video as many times as you are. So it really, like these aren't things that everybody else is gonna notice.
hmm You really just kind of have to gloss over the minor, like, minor inconveniences. And it's just like, like it's so weird. And it's just like you notice every little detail about yourself, every little mess up you make, but no one else is probably gonna notice it.
Yeah, like that was always, like the thing when like people always have a lot of anxiety about how they look or how they act, and people are always like, what is somebody else going to think about me? But the truth is that they're not thinking about you. And like if somebody's thinking about you, this is always something that's like really easy to mesh. If somebody's thinking about you and you have something that's easy to think about, like, oh, that's like whoever, they're known for whatever, and then the thought glosses over. Maybe they're like, oh, I wonder how they're doing, and then like they stop thinking about you. And that's kind of it. Like nobody's thinking about, oh yeah, that's whoever. I hate them for this minor imperfection. Like it's just, you're the only one who really notices that, and you're the only one who's really going to care. Like a lot of people, for the most part, like the most people who are engaging in your content are just like strangers who will probably never see it again. There are people who like will look, the people who are there are going to look past your imperfections, and the people who are passing by are just going to look at it and be like, "Oh, okay, this is a video," and they probably won't even notice it. Maybe they'll become the people who start like watching all of your videos, and then they probably won't care about your imperfections anymore. So it's like a constant like state of nobody really cares about the imperfection.
Hmm. And yeah, it's all just like it's so weird because I think everybody else is gonna see it. Everyone else probably won't see it, and it's just all just kind of a jumble of things, and I just get confused. And then
Yeah,
just
yeah. There's like, it's just like it's like it's a whole big thing that like is like I speak for myself here, but I would assume that this probably goes for you too. But this is like this is still like a relatively new thing. We're both still dipping our toes into this. I definitely me more than you. You've had a bit more experience to this, but like I definitely feel like we're both like exactly have our feet on the ground yet, but I definitely see that they're like it's in the future that like I'm gonna figure this out, and I feel like definitely you've already pretty much figured it out, but there's still a few spots like that you could always use a few more like hashing out.
Mhm. It's just I feel like I'm taking my time too much with some of these things, and I should be more on ball with everything.
Yeah, like that's another thing, like how much time do you want to put into something? Like if you put a lot of time into something, like it might like especially with stuff that's like a trend. Like if you like put too much effort into it, it like the trend might have passed over before it was even done, and then nobody's gonna care about it. But then like, if you rush it out, then it's not going to be good either, and nobody's really going to care. So you have to have that like perfect balance. Ideally, you should not have a time constraint on what you're working on. But, like when you're in a scenario like mine, where like of course like once like if I start like if I make any videos, I have a few planned, but like like there none of them are past the like written them down on a Google Doc. But like if any of them ever get past that, and that's like what I'm working on like main like full time, and I don't have anything to show for it like within a week, then I'm just I'm not going to pressure myself to like come up with something stupid, like right at the end, just to like satisfy the put of at least one video in between every episode of the show. If I have like a bigger video, like if I have like a 10-20 minute video that's about something that's like a lot bigger than just like a little tune, or like like just whatever else I'm doing right now, something that takes more than like a day or two to make, then I'm not going to rush myself to put it out, just to fit this arbitrary date that I've put out.
Mhm. You know, yeah, I really feel that, to be honest. I'm just, I'm also just like half awake. I think I'm just gonna go pass out soon, to be honest with you. I've just,
Yeah, yeah. I like we're definitely winding down on this, so I guess we can move on to closing thoughts. Is there anything left you want to say?
um, honestly, not really. Been fun, I guess, talking.
All right, well, I guess I guess I'll say that whatever was it, like twitch.tv/. If you like the guest today, make sure to check him out. Hashtag follow him. If you liked what I had to say, please subscribe. Um, uh, I guess have fun, stay safe, kids, and I'll see you next week and hopefully sooner. Good. Bye.
Life is
Oh yeah, that's
unfair.
also how I end every single one. I just say bye for a really long time. And,
You
like
know,
I feel like every single time, well, I've only had 2 guests on this show, but I feel like that doesn't really make sense to anyone because, even like even though he said like he watched all the episodes beforehand, I'm sure he like skimmed through them. So that's like a thing that like isn't really like that nobody really gets, especially because it's like right at the end of the show, so like nobody listens to that part.
mhm.
But yeah,
Yeah,
that was fun. We should do that again some.
yeah,
That
that'd
was
be
a
fun.
that was a fun old romp.
Maybe I'll just join randomly when you and Arya are doing the podcast.
Yeah, why not? Like that's like the thing. Like since this is like a server, like I'm just like gonna keep collecting people. Like I thought for a second that like the Squilliam was gonna join, and just like because like that's the beauty of it that like the bot records for us, so that way we don't even need to like like I don't need to like people don't need to record themselves. So if they like need to do something, then they can just hop in and say whatever they need to, and it'll just keep being whatever.
It's just it adds an